Denny Hamlin just did something that nobody saw coming. After getting hit with a penalty that should have ruined his entire race, he came back and won the whole thing. And honestly, the way he did it might be one of the most impressive drives we have seen all year. Let me take you through exactly what happened. On Sunday, the 15th of March 2026, the NASCAR Cup Series rolled into Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the Pennzoil 400. Now, Las Vegas is always a tough track. The speeds are high, the competition is fierce, and one small mistake can take you completely out of the running. Every driver on that grid knew they had to be perfect if they wanted to win. And for most of the field, that is exactly what they tried to do. But for Denny Hamlin, things went wrong really early. Right at the end of Stage 1, Hamlin's team brought him down pit road for a stop. Everything seemed fine. The crew did their job. Hamlin was looking good. But then the call came over the radio that every driver hates to hear: speeding on pit road. Denny Hamlin had been caught going too fast coming into the pits, and just like that, he was hit with a penalty. Now, if you do not follow NASCAR closely, let me explain why this is such a big deal. Pit road has a strict speed limit. If you go even a little bit over that limit, you get penalized. And the penalty is not small. You have to slow down, serve the penalty, and by the time you get back on track, you have lost a ton of positions. You go from running near the front to being buried deep in the field, and at a track like Las Vegas, where everyone is running so close together, making up that kind of ground is incredibly hard. So when that penalty came down, a lot of people watching at home probably thought the same thing. Hamlin is done. His day is over. There is no way he is coming back from this. And honestly, you could not blame anyone for thinking that. A pit road speeding penalty at the end of a stage is one of the worst things that can happen to a driver. It takes away all the hard work you did in that stage and puts you in a hole that most drivers simply cannot climb out of. But here is the thing about Denny Hamlin. He has been doing this for a very long time. He has been in tough spots before. He has had bad breaks, bad luck, and bad days. And more often than not, he finds a way to fight back. That is exactly what he did on Sunday. After serving his penalty, Hamlin got back on track in his number 11 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota and went to work. He did not panic, he did not get frustrated and make more mistakes. He just put his head down and started passing cars. One by one, he worked his way through the field. He was patient when he needed to be patient. He was aggressive when he needed to be aggressive. And lap after lap, he kept moving forward. What made his drive even more impressive is just how many laps he ended up leading. By the end of the race, Denny Hamlin had led 134 laps. That was more than any other driver in the entire field. Think about that for a second. A guy who got a speeding penalty at the end of Stage 1 ended up leading the most laps in the race. That does not happen very often. In fact, it almost never happens. But Hamlin made it happen. As the race moved into the final stage, Hamlin was running up front and looking strong. His car was fast. His team was making great calls on pit strategy. Everything that went wrong early in the race was now going right. And then on lap 185, Hamlin made his move. He grabbed the lead from William Byron and took control of the race. Now, taking the lead is one thing. Holding it is a completely different challenge. And Hamlin had some serious competition breathing down his neck. Chase Elliott, one of the most talented drivers in the entire series, was right behind him and pushing hard. Elliott wanted that win badly. He was not going to just let Hamlin drive away. He stayed close, kept the pressure on, and looked for any opening he could find. The final laps were intense. Hamlin was out front, hitting his marks perfectly, not giving Elliott an inch. Elliott was right there, trying everything he could to get around him. The gap between them was tiny. Every corner, every straightaway, it felt like Elliott might find a way past, but Hamlin held firm. He did not make a single mistake. He did not give Elliott any room to make a move. When they crossed the finish line, Denny Hamlin was still in front. He won the Pennzoil 400 by exactly 0.502 seconds over Chase Elliott, half a second. That is how close it was. After everything that happened, after the penalty, after having to fight through the entire field, Hamlin held off one of the best drivers in NASCAR by just half a second. That is unbelievable. This was not just any win for Hamlin either. This victory was his 61st career win in the NASCAR Cup Series. and that number is a really big deal. With 61 wins, Denny Hamlin has now passed Kevin Harvick, who retired with 60 career victories and stands completely alone in 10th place on the all-time NASCAR Cup Series wins list. He does not share that spot with anyone. It is his and his alone. We are talking about a list that includes some of the greatest drivers who have ever lived, legends of the sport. And Hamlin has now carved out his own place above another legend in Harvick. To put that in perspective, there have been hundreds and hundreds of drivers who have competed in the Cup Series over the years. Only a tiny handful have ever reached 61 wins. It takes years and years of being at the very top of your game to get to that number. It takes consistency, talent, and the ability to perform when it matters most. Hamlin has done all of that throughout his career, and breaking away from Harvick to claim sole possession of 10th place at Las Vegas just adds another chapter to what is already an incredible story. What makes this particular win stand out from many of his others is the way it happened. Hamlin did not just lead from start to finish. He did not have the easiest car and cruise to victory. He had to overcome a real problem. He had to dig himself out of a hole that most drivers would not have been able to escape, and he did it in a way that showed exactly why he is one of the best to ever do this. The comeback, the 134 laps led, the flawless final stage, holding off Chase Elliott by half a second. Every single part of this race told the same story. Denny Hamlin is still at the top of his game. He is still capable of winning races in the most dramatic fashion possible. And he is still adding to a legacy that keeps getting more and more impressive with every season. Joe Gibbs Racing has to be thrilled with what they saw on Sunday. Their No. 11 Toyota was fast all day long, and the team made the right adjustments at the right times to keep Hamlin in contention even after the penalty. It was a team effort from start to finish, and everyone involved deserves credit for pulling off what seemed impossible. For Chase Elliott, finishing second is tough. He had a great car and drove a fantastic race. On most days, his performance would have been good enough to win. But on this day, Hamlin was just a little bit better, just half a second better. That is how thin the margins are at the top level of NASCAR racing. As for Hamlin, 61 wins and counting, sole owner of 10th place all time, standing above Kevin Harvick and every other driver below him on that legendary list. And after what he just did at Las Vegas, nobody should ever count him out, no matter how bad things look early in a race. Because if there is one thing Denny Hamlin proved on Sunday, it is that he knows how to fight back when everyone else has already written him off.